You ever spend 4th of July in prison? It's not a good day to be locked up. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a crazy prison story about the craziest, this is by far the craziest visit that I ever got while locked up. And it happened on the 4th of July. Before we begin this video, check out the beanie, check out Joe. Joe's been in the gym this morning. Look at those little BBs on my arms right there. I'm telling you, I'm in the midst of this 30-day transformation. I'm feeling better. I feel like I'm looking better. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it's like one of those things that only I can see. Who knows? But what I do know is that since working out again, since eating better for the last 2 weeks, it seems, well, I've been feeling just that. Better. And with that being mentioned, what do you say we just go ahead and dive head first into this crazy prison story video? It's way too hot to be wearing this right now. You know, while locked up and on holidays, they allow you what is considered a special visit. No matter what day of the week it is, it could be Monday through Friday, at prisons, at least here in the state of Virginia, you are allowed what's considered a special visit. And the 4th of July is one of those holidays where you are allowed one of those visits. Now, before I tell you this story about the craziest damn visit I ever got that happened on a 4th of July while I was locked up, I want to explain to you a little bit about what it's like to be locked up on the 4th of July. Now, I know some people may be thinking, so what, the 4th of July? It may not be a holiday they consider would be like a hard holiday to be locked up for, such as like Christmas, Thanksgiving, holidays that are more family-based and would have you missing your family, missing the free world, thinking just what you would be doing if you weren't locked up and were out there in the free world to enjoy that holiday. But I have to assure you, for me personally, the 4th of July was just as hard of a holiday to be locked up for as any other one. And I can remember first getting to prison, still having 5 years left to serve, and experiencing my first 4th of July locked up. Watching fireworks go off from all over the country from a prison TV. And I experienced like 5 4th of Julys while locked up. Every year, watching fireworks go off from a prison TV and just feeling so down and out. Feeling like, oh my God, look at all of these people out here in the free world who are actually able to enjoy this holiday. I would catch myself thinking about what I would be doing if I was out there able to enjoy this holiday. And again, I had to deal with that for like 5 different 4th of Julys while in prison. While I was in the jail, I did 2 years in the jail. There were 2 4th of Julys that I experienced in there. And with there being only one TV in the cell block, guys did not want to watch fireworks on the 4th of July. And I honestly can't even blame them, because once I got to prison and I started experiencing what this holiday was like locked up, watching these fireworks go off from a TV, seeing all of these people out there who were having like the greatest damn time, well, it sure makes a lot of sense to me now thinking back on that as to why these guys didn't want to watch these fireworks going off. Because who wants to think about what's going on in the real world while you're sitting in a jail cell or a prison somewhere? Then throw in the fact that on these holidays, you're fed a special tray. It's called a holiday tray. And on Thanksgiving, Christmas, those 2 holidays especially, prisoners are fed, in some cases, a really decent holiday tray, especially in comparison to what they're fed on a normal basis. But the 4th of July holiday tray wasn't like Thanksgiving or Christmas, whereas on one of those trays, you're gonna get chicken, you're gonna get turkey, you're gonna get stuffing, you're gonna get cake, you're gonna get pie, you're gonna get vegetables, you're gonna get salad. You're gonna get a lot of food on that Thanksgiving Day tray and that Christmas tray. But on that 4th of July tray, what we received was one single VADOC, Department of Corrections, hot dog, and also a prison hamburger. And the best way I can describe what a prison hamburger is have you ever seen a hockey puck? It's just a little black, solid, hard piece of a thing. That's pretty much exactly what a prison hamburger is like. And don't get me wrong, this single VADOC hot dog and this hockey puck prison hamburger, that was certainly a lot better than what we were being fed on a daily basis, but it still really wasn't much of anything at all. And I can remember vividly sitting in the chow hall, eating this 4th of July holiday prison tray, eating this hockey puck hamburger, and just being so mad, feeling like, damn, I was missing out on so much in life. Thinking about what everybody was out there doing, what my family was doing, what my old friends were doing. Not that any of my old friends really matter at this point, but just thinking about what was going on out there in the free world. And that was one of the things that made any holiday that you would spend locked up one of the hardest things about it. Being that on those specific days, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, no matter what holiday it was, Halloween, any holiday, you would be forced to think about what was going on beyond those fences and that razor wire. Whereas on any other day, every other day to be more specific, your main objective while in prison is to keep your mind inside that place. Because if you spend too much time thinking about the outside world, you're gonna go crazy. Your time is gonna absolutely feel like forever. And that's why it's so important to keep your mind off of all of that stuff. And you know, there's something else that just came to my mind as I'm talking about all of this. Trying to keep your mind inside of the place that you're confined in, because it makes time a lot easier. Well, on 4th of July at certain facilities that I was at, whether it was at jails or whether it was at certain prisons, sometimes, even if you didn't want to watch the fireworks going off, well, you couldn't help but to hear them going off. And even from a jail that I was at, Chesapeake City Jail, where I spent tons of time at as a youth, constantly getting in trouble and basically treating Chesapeake City Jail like a revolving door, I can remember that from one of the many cells that I was housed in, on a particular 4th of July, I can't remember which one it was years ago, but I can remember from that cell, we had these long slit windows that ran sideways, but from those windows, I could actually look out to the world and watch as the fireworks were going off somewhere off in the distance. And you want to talk about feeling sick? Feeling like, oh my God, I'm in here while the entire world is taking place on the other side of this plexiglass window. So I really hope that paints the picture of just why being locked up on the 4th of July is just as bad as being locked up on any other holiday, and especially again for me personally. The 4th of July was one of the worst holidays that I ever spent locked up. And I spent quite a few 4th of Julys just that, locked up. But like I had mentioned earlier, the 4th of July was like any other holiday where prisoners were allowed to get this special visit. And though rarely did I ever get a visit on any holiday, in fact, during the 7 years that I served, I went through a 4-year period where I didn't get any visits at all. But there was this one particular 4th of July where I did get a visit, and I'll never forget how this one particular 4th of July started off. The rec yard was open all day long. I had been out there all morning, working out, playing soccer, just doing anything that I possibly could to keep my mind off of thoughts that I did not want my mind on. And somewhere in the midst of this, I want to say it was sometime right before lunch, over the intercom, I heard my name called. Guerrero, Guerrero, you have a visit, Guerrero. Is there another Guerrero here? Because I gotta be honest with you, nobody comes to see me. Guerrero, Guerrero, you have a visit, Guerrero. Oh my God. I never took off running so fast in my life. Running back to the housing unit and then jumping in the shower immediately, trying to hurry up and get myself cleaned up and dressed for whoever the hell was here to see me on this 4th of July. I had no idea who this was who was here to see me. In fact, I had just started getting visits after 4 years, probably like a week or two prior to this 4th of July visit that basically sprung up out of nowhere. And in fact, when they called my name for visit, I thought it was the girl who was just starting to come see me at that point. So in my mind, I'm thinking it's her. Again, I hurry up, I get cleaned up, I get dressed, I've got my prison blue shirt on, buttoned up, I've got my prison blue jeans on, put my Lamborghinis on, meaning the nice shoes that I had in prison if ever there was a visit that was coming for me, or maybe I would wear these shoes to go take pictures in, or just to walk around and try to look fresh inside of the prison with. But I got dressed and immediately went to the guard's booth. Guerrero here. I'm ready for my visit. The guards were sitting in the booth probably looking at me like I'm crazy, like what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Guerrero, I'm here. I'm ready to go see my visit. They wrote me my little pass that I needed so that I could go on the boulevard and walk to the visitation room. And no sooner than I walked out the front door of the housing unit on my way to this visit, I think that's exactly when it hit me. I was like, the anxiety was like just almost overwhelming. Oh my God, who the fuck is this gonna be? I'm thinking it might be my brother, it might be my dad, it might be my mom, it might be my family. Oh my God, they don't hate me. Someone is actually here to see me. And it might just be somebody like I just mentioned, my family. In fact, as I was walking to this visit, I think the person that I thought it was most was gonna be my brother. And I can't remember exactly why I felt this way, but that's what I was thinking as I was walking over to this visitation building. I get over to the building, I knock on the door, they have to buzz open the door. You go into that little room right there, and you're sitting in between two doors that need to be buzzed open. One door that needs to be buzzed open to leave, and another door that's buzzed open. And once you open that door, you're right there in the visitation room. But while sitting in that little itty bitty hallway, there's a guard who's talking to you through a little gate window, and you have to sign in, you have to tell him exactly what you have on, what kind of shoes you have on, do you have any watches on, you have to put the watches in a little basket. And the reason they check you so thoroughly going into the visitation room is so they know exactly what you're supposed to have when you're coming back out. Because guys will go into the visitation room and swap shoes out, they'll get watches, they'll get jewelry. In a lot of cases, they actually get away with it. But this is, I guess, their preventative measure to try to prevent that from happening. Though, again, it doesn't really work. I get all signed in, they check to see what I've got, and then they open that secondary door. I open that door and it's just like, oh my God. You walk into this visitation room, it's crowded, full of people. Guys are in there with their girlfriends, their kids, their families, whoever is there to see them. And I have to add this as well. You see some very, very crazy shit going on inside of a prison visitation room. But as I walked into this visitation room, this anxiety just like multiplied tenfold. Because, you know, I'm walking in here and I'm just feeling like everybody's just looking at me. And it's not so much as a feeling, it's actually really happening. Because when you walk in, people are always curious, so they're looking at you, they might be laughing at you, they might be pointing at you. Mommy, look at that guy right there, why does he look so crazy? It is an anxiety-filled nightmare sometimes walking into a visitation room, especially when you're not really used to going into one. I go into the visitation room, you have to check in with another guard who's stationed in there. In fact, they do have guards who are stationed at like strategic vantage points in the visitation room, trying to watch everything, make sure there's no exchanges taking place, make sure there's no sex taking place, which I have to say, a lot of both does happen inside of the visitation room. I'm telling you, with me thinking about this, I'm actually going to do a video about some of the craziest shit I've ever seen inside of a prison visitation room. But I get to the second guard and I tell him, hey, Guerrero, I'm here for my visit. Here's my pass. And he says, okay, you're good. You're signed in. Go have your visit. Excuse me. Where is my visit? Who was here to see me? Dude, your visit it's right there. And in the midst of me looking around trying to find out who was actually here to see me, I was completely overlooking this table that was sitting right there by the guard. And who was sitting at this table? Well, it was actually two girls here to see old Joe. And at first, I had no idea who these two chicks were. I thought maybe they called the wrong person. Oh my God, I've been through this before. I look at them, and then I kind of look at them, and then I kind of look at them, and then I realize who it is. It's actually one of my ex-girlfriends. I'm completely surprised and shocked by all of this and probably shaking because I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing here to see me? I was a fucking nightmare inside of this visitation room. I was absolutely like falling to pieces in a panic attack, trying to keep it together, trying to look okay. And I'm like, hey, what's up? But I was able to finally sit down with them and I said, oh my God, like, why are you here visiting me? This is crazy. Out of the blue, here is my ex-girlfriend at this prison. I have no idea who the other girl is. It was a friend of hers. I had never met this chick. And again, I had absolutely no idea why my ex was here to visit me on the 4th of July at that. So I sit down, I'm nervous, she's nervous. She says to me, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm here. Oh my God, look at you. You look amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I know, girl. I look great. I'm kidding. It's probably not as bad as I'm making it out the scene, but I definitely was nervous as fuck. So we're sitting there talking. Hey, how have you been? How have you been over the many years? It's been what, almost 7 years since I've seen you? She says, I just can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? Out of nowhere, she gets up and she's like, hey, I gotta go get a soda. You want a soda? I absolutely do want a soda. Please get me a soda. And she goes over to the vending machines. She's over there for a minute. And that's when she leaves me with her friend. And her friend just turns to me and says these exact words. Yo, dog, I don't know you, but I'm here to tell you right now that you have a kid with this chick right here. What? She says, yeah, you have a kid with her after 7 years. I've just now met you for the first time, but I can see looking at you and then knowing what this child looks like, you and this girl, you have a kid together. What? It's the 4th of July. What are you talking about? Said, look, whatever your name is, you must not understand what the history is like between me and this girl right here. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but if this is what this is all about, then this would be the second time she would be telling me that I'm her kid's father. Because this girl did this to me with the first child that she had, telling me that I was the kid's father. And lo and behold, a damn DNA test came back and I saw the results of the test. The craziest damn thing in my life. I've never even seen what a DNA test result looks like, but I saw one with her first child that said these test results prove beyond 99.9% accuracy that this is the biological father of your child. And wouldn't you know, the kid wasn't mine. In fact, it wasn't even a white kid, it was a mixed kid. So for you to be sitting here telling me that after 7 years, me and this girl have a kid together, that is just preposterous. By this point, the girl has come back, sat down, and then she pulls out a picture from down in her pants. She literally pulls this picture out from her vagina. And she shows me this photoshopped picture of her son right next to an older picture of me. And I'll be goddamned if I don't look at this picture and see like a slight resemblance between the child and me. The kid was like 6 or 7 years old at that point, and this was an older picture of me. And I'm seeing this picture, and now this is actually really, really scary to me because I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, what if this is my child? Well, at this point, I don't even know what to say. I just tell her, hey, look, I don't even know how to deal with this. I don't know how to deal with this, so you know what? I'm not going to say anything about this. You're coming back into my life after 7 years telling me that your son is my son, that I have a kid. And it gets even more crazy than that because there was another guy who potentially was the father as well, who kind of not really looks like me at all, but it is another white guy who is actually like my worst fucking enemy. And during the time that she got pregnant, I guess she was sleeping with him, she was sleeping with me, so she didn't really know who the kid's father was, but I do remember her calling me around this time. It was like 7 years ago from that point back then, and she said, hey, look, I just want to let you know I'm pregnant again, and if it's your child, I'm gonna kill it. What am I supposed to say to that? And that was the last time that I heard from this chick until she's sitting here on the 4th of July in this visitation room telling me that there's a potential that her son is actually mine. But here's some other things that she told me as well. She told me that the other guy, my worst enemy, the guy that she had been on and off with at the same time that she had been on and off with me, he was raising the child as if it was his own. He signed the birth certificate, and he's also got not only the kid's name tattooed on his body, but also the kid's portrait tattooed on his body. So on the 4th of July, 2 years prior to me being released from prison, a girl comes to see me who was my ex-girlfriend and tells me that after 7 years, she has a kid that's, well, I'm the father of. And you know, I ended up coming home from prison doing this damn DNA test that she wanted done so badly. And wouldn't you fucking know it, this child, of course, was not mine. But you know, that's some really crazy shit to have to deal with while locked up. Having a girl come back into your life after 7 years telling you, hey, guess what? Your baby daddy. And then you go home from prison, do the DNA test, only to find out for the second time that you are not, in fact, the father of her child. Please, girl, leave me the fuck alone. Really sounds like the kind of girl you want to take home and introduce to your mother, doesn't she? And the crazy thing about it is I actually did introduce her to my mother at one point. Fuck my life. But regardless of all of that, that was by far one of the craziest visits I ever had in my life. And it happened on the 4th of July. Hey, look! That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever get wrapped up with a chick who's going to have you on some Maury Povich type of stuff, and make the most of every day. Peace!